Welcome again, Keepers of Light, and I call you that because you are just that. Keepers of Light. So I've been sitting in the Keeper of Light portal, and I am and have been connecting to our field to see what messages are available for us at this period of time. I do see that much of what I speak about is really coming from this first person point of view of how I've been interpreting the experiences, because everything that I share is really just an interpretation of experience. I've said over and over again that nothing that I say is actually true. It's just a perspective of reality in that way that I've been able to connect to different versions of looking at things that don't necessarily box us into the same reality that we seem to be magnetized towards, and have that humanity has been magnetized towards in terms of supporting. One of the things that I'm being shown through my work with my guides and with my galactic council is they're kind of like, well, you know what, I'm gonna start talking about, I think I want to address some of the written messages that I've had and put on the post, in the YouTube post, and then also too on the Patreon page. There's been a shift that I've been right now going through in terms of releasing poverty consciousness, and it is likely one of the, I'm not going to say last shifts, but it's really one of the biggest shifts that I've had to encounter at this period of time. And so you will see that what I've written is that I'm no longer expecting myself to be able to determine what is of value to you that I'm presenting to you, whether it is that I'm recording here or that I am, because I am in the process of setting up my website. But there is a bigger mission that I've always been here for. It always really has been that, and it's been quite frustrating because trying to explain that to people in my life wasn't really an option even sometimes. But even coming close to explaining this perspective that I have that isn't limited to the reality that is happening on a day-to-day basis, it's almost as though I am I'm not going to say resenting being here, but resisting being here. But it's not necessarily resistance that I've had towards being here. It's more so that I've felt the disconnection that the human being has to its higher source of connection. And I felt that within myself, and I've been able to, within this lifetime, look at the frequencies which are the supporting structure to, the various frequencies which are the supporting structures to what has been built so far. And it's like, when you're looking at the three bears, is it the three bears story? And no, it wasn't the three bears, it's the other one. I will huff and puff, and the wolf, the wolf that blows the house down. And it's like this society has been, and this world has been constructed within the structure of straws. Like, it's been made of straws. That the reality has been created from straws. And yet, like, from the outer perspective, it appears to be very solidified and appears to be very concrete. But when you're looking at the inner part, you find out that it's very weak in that way, that the components within it are themselves not empowered. And so we have a structure where human beings are feeling as though, the majority of them are feeling as though that they have no say and no control in how their lives are manifesting, and how it is that they get to express and how they get to live out what their soul's intention was in the first place. So what I'm saying is, I know that I'm supposed to speak, and I don't necessarily some days I don't necessarily want to, because it's almost like I feel like, like not necessarily like what's the point, but more so, am I even being heard? But then, the guides and my support team, my non-physical support team, have been with me throughout my entire experiences here, and now I'm learning how to remember exactly how it is that they have shown up for me. And what I'm realizing is that not only am I here to express, but I'm here to embody and to become a demonstration of that which is human and evolving into that which is able to experience the realities that have been possible within the context of connecting to the higher aspects of ourselves, within the aspect of connecting to the soul. And I mean, on the one hand, I think I've always been doing that. Like, I believe that I've always been living from that perspective, but it's only now that I'm allowing myself to be seen. But it's not necessarily that I'm actively allowing myself to be seen, but that I am being seen, because I am shifting my reality by disconnecting from the very distortions that I've been speaking of. But it had to be that for me, like, I had to play out like every angle, because the sense of magnetism that we have towards the distortions, it's really kind of hard to break out of. Like, it is not easy to be able to step aside from the very story which is the supporting structure to the reality that you have right now, to be able to expand your perception so that you're understanding that this is not the only perspective that is available to you. When you're surrounded by so many others who are believing that this is the way things are. And so the parts of me that really shrunk back in the past was because I was really trying to figure out how to make it all fit in, like how to make the structure of what I was understanding to fit into what it is that so many of the people who I love, and so many of the people who really great people who are living from that reality, and not just living from it, but believing that this is the way, this is the way it should be. This is the way that it is. And because this is the way that it is, then this is the way that it should be. But when you come with like an awareness, always just really, it's to a point where, now, like I've said this before, that this process is also me integrating my human self and then my cosmic self. When you come from a perspective of really understanding that it's not just one self that is emerging through your experience of self within this realm. When you're understanding that, it's not something that you can kind of just turn off and ignore. I mean, I suppressed it, but it wasn't something that I was able to completely eliminate. On the one hand, because it wasn't just that I was aware of that other aspect, the cosmic aspect, the starseed part of me, but also because I was aware of the mission that was encoded in me to live out at this, within this existence. But what has been happening for me right now is that there is this actual shifting that I'm seeing the minute that I completely decided to, I don't want to say give up, but to really just say, you know what, I get it. Like, I really get it. It's built on straws. We can't necessarily rebuild on top of like straws, And that's the saddest part of all. Like, it really kind of, it gives me grief to think about, and this is because I have felt memories of experiences that I've had in other realms, in other incarnations, haven't been in the same space, in the same point of change and of emergence, of awakening, and in those periods of times not having been able to do what I am doing now, which is to, sometimes it's smarter and sometimes it's wiser to walk away, is what I'm saying. And it's not to say that you're giving up, because I used those words before. It's not to say that we're giving up, but that we are doing what we have always been designed to do, which is to evolve. It is a step towards evolving when we can look at what we're working with and say to ourselves, honestly, like, where all this is coming from is not a good place, We need to be able to admit to ourselves that there are certain working pieces of reality that really just really don't make sense, first of all. And then secondly, even if it did, it's harmful, not just to myself, but it's harmful to other people. And in that way, we learn how to recalibrate ourselves. In that way of looking at and looking within ourselves to see those aspects of our own personal lives that are a demonstration of beliefs and a result of the many beliefs that have kept it going, that I'm deciding right now that it's time for me to walk away from this. It's time for me to allow myself to believe in there being a better path forward. Whether it is I'm able to see what that path is or not. That's where the Keeper of Light is being asked to turn to. We're being asked to turn from, but not in defiance, and not in resistance, and not in anger, and not in sadness, but within our understanding and our wisdom of understanding that it is the natural order to existence for us to move from that which is no longer in accordance to our deepest desires, and to move towards that which is more so in accordance to what our souls are guiding us to, our light is guiding us to. And so, like I said to you before, like I'm just learning, like I'm learning how to navigate within the changing territory of experiences which are, occurring. I'm noticing that there are ways in which I've structured my own life that need to go. You guys have, you have no obligation to me, and neither do I have an obligation to you. But I do know that I have an obligation to my the expansion of my beingness. And that means that it is in coherence to the upgrade of experience that humanity is heading towards. I'm understanding of that, and I'm willing to let go. I'm willing to let go of expecting that I'm owed anything from anyone. Like, I'm willing to let that part go, because my awareness is not limited to this earth life that I have, even though that is how I am experiencing the experiences that are coming through me, even though that is the focus of my attention at this period of time. I'm understanding that I'm not limited because I have a body. My body is that which is allowing me to have experience, but it is not who I am. And so there are many awarenesses that I have, and I'm understanding that I'm here to to speak on these understandings, so that I am, in essence, being who I've come here to be, which is in alignment to the blueprint of existence that I've learned how to evolve from, to evolve into, from my incarnated embodiment of being human. I'm not just coming in here and saying, go do this, go do that. What I'm telling you is that this is actual embodiment work that you are on as a keeper of light. This is the reconfigurations that I speak of. I can only speak of them, but the work, what happens in terms of what you're using, this knowledge that I'm imparting to you, how you use it is really up to you, whether you walk away or you stay. But I'm fulfilling my role, which is to just come on here and to share what I've come to understand, what I've come to learn, and to also allow myself to align to those truth codes that I spoke of in previous videos. But in order for me to connect to those truth codes, in order for me to expand further and to allow the field for keepers of light, which is being translated as a portal through me, in order for me to allow my light grid to expand onto this earth realm, so that we are now allowing ourselves to create that platform and foundation to what we are evolving into. I have to let go of some of the ways in which I have been showing up in this existence. I have to finally be able to say, I honor what I have learned from you. I honor that which you have done. I honor that part of me that's human, that's gotten me to this point. I honor her because she's done so much. Like, she's weathered the same storms that every other human being who stands as the majority of people who are and who have been handed a set of rules and set of standard to living that is not at all encoded to reflect that which is within the core blueprint of who they are. Now, I just kind of lost track of where that sentence came from. But I'm on here because I'm just letting you guys know that I'm stepping forward. Um, my silence is not silence. It's just a sacred moment of recalibration that I'm always on. I'm being shown and I'm being supported in ways that I'm opening up myself to, because I'm understanding that the way forward isn't to go backwards either. We use what we have learned and we evolve from there. And I welcome you. Because you are always you have always been with me on this path. You know, from the moment that I had the intuition to just start channeling, and then I was kind of I was told that, you know, you're a keeper of light and this is what you're here to do. I've kind of been handed this torch of seeming to come beforehand. Seeming to come before you, but really we're all on that in that same, what I'm being shown is a spiral, which is more in alignment to the cosmic perspective of how we exist. That time itself, the way that it's factored in within this realm, because it doesn't factor in at all when it comes to the cosmic perspective at all in the way that it's factored in here now, then there is no before either. So we're in this together is what I'm saying. We probably haven't all met yet, like within this period of time right now, but all of that is coming to be. We are becoming. I am becoming. And I stand within a sense of security unlike any that I've had within my focus point being within a human being that has felt a continual pressure to be everything that it's not. You know, once you step away from that, which is really all the set of distortions that would have you feel as though you're entrapped within the very conditions which have kept so many within experiences of subjugation. Once you're willing to let that go, because I would argue that it's really the reason why things keep repeating and the reason why reality itself doesn't shift is because there's not that many who have learned the keys to doing so. There are not that many who are willing to let go the very structures of reality that are supporting them, regardless of what that reality is made of. But you are. So I am going to go now. I kind of yeah, I kind of went in different directions, and I'm not going to dwell on that too much right now. But it likely was just a message. It is the message that wanted to come through because it did come through. And I'm wishing you all wellness. I have freed and liberated myself from the structures of, the way that we have everything structured, like, yeah, the way we have everything structured, financially structured within the earth realm is really distorted and made out of straws anyway. So what I'm doing right now is really paving the way to how it is that we will be evolving, even as it pertains to how we value and how we value one another, what we value, and in that way, we are determining what we're moving towards. If we're able to place the energy of focus of our attention to that which is actually valuable, then we begin to allow that energy to converge into a coherent field of expression, which then becomes the new structure of, you name every aspect of reality that is seeking to emerge within the field of cosmic human existence. And that's what we're heading towards, Keepers of Light. So hang on tight, because it might be a bumpy ride, but it is one that we all have signed up for. And we wouldn't have signed up for it if it wasn't going to be worth it, right? Right? So until next time, Keepers of Light.